Okay, once you get your proportions done and your clay is starting to be the size and the shapes, hold on, that you're looking for, I can get that awkward angle. Once you're pretty happy with the proportions on that and you have your wrist, I would say, an inch or more tall and separated from the base, go ahead and remove any extra clay that you want to remove from the base. Decide what you're going to do in terms of a texture, making sure that your hand sculpture can balance and that it stands upright. And my clay is not super plastic soft anymore. I can't just bend it around completely, but it's still soft enough that I can remove chunks of it this way. Once you get the base set to about the size and the volume of clay that you want left on there, doesn't mean that I can't go in and refine this texture a little bit more after. I can do that after. But once you have the volume of clay correct, or the size that you want, we want to make sure that there's no area on our clay that's thicker than about an inch. We want the air and the moisture to be able to escape, and if it can't escape, it will figure out how to when it's in the kiln, which means it will break your work apart. So I am just going through and hollowing this out. Okay, so I've gone through, I've hollowed it out, I've made sure that areas are still thick enough that they can support the structure, but nothing's thicker than an inch. So like here where it gets very wide and it comes out, you can see that the opening gets wider. So nothing here is really thick. So if we're now looking at this area, and that's a pretty big volume of clay, but it would be really difficult for me to try to get into there to hollow that out. So what you need to do is look for those thick areas and take a needle tool and give the moisture, the air, somewhere to escape. So I'm now just taking the needle tool. It's okay. See, I just came through there. At least know where at, and I can work a little bit more internally than that. And I can just, that little hole that's there, no biggie. Just don't stab from the outside in, because if you and then you cover it, you've literally created a long air bubble from your needle tool. So you only information where you're not going to clip. And if I'm worried about not getting up there more with the needle tool, I can even take back and be really careful. You can use a different kind of tool, but something a little bit more significant, and you can see that if I only have this much of the needle tool sticking out right now, just that little bit, the whole rest of it is inside of there, and I'm creating, let me see if I can get a little more light on this. There we go. And now when I take this out, there, you can see I've just created a tunnel that goes up into this, up into this thumb area. So it definitely has a significant way for the air to escape. So if this is a total of 2 inches, at least if I have that air tunnel in there, it's going to help split that in half so the moisture and the air can get out of the middle of that chunk of clay. And I might, once I'm off camera here, try to go in and see if I can work a couple more of those. I'm really just trying to use my best judgment to create the biggest air tunnel that I can without compromising my structure at all and without damaging the outside of it too much. Okay, so now I've gone back in that same way over here, and then I'm doing kind of a second one more to the outside there. And again, you can see from the angle of my needle, needle tool this time, how diagonal. So if you imagine this line coming up, it's going all the way into that area. It was only sticking out that little bit, it was all the way up into here.